What's up, everybody? Hope everyone's doing good. So, y'all, there's been a lot going on in politics lately. I mean, there's been a lot going on really for the past few years. But I've really kind of just started paying attention more, and a lot more things, I guess, have caught my eye. And throughout my time on YouTube the last few years, I've kind of stayed out of politics for the most part. But here lately, I feel like I want to just express how I feel, because I've just had a lot of people ask me what are my views. I've looked through my comments before, and I've had people think that I was like some crazy conservative, I guess, because that's how I was raised. And I guess they see that I live in the South, and the Southern accent that I have, they automatically, I guess, assume that I'm a hillbilly, ultra conservative one, for whatever reason. But that's not true. I don't fall really on either spectrum, left or right, fully extreme. But one thing that someone has really asked me that I saw in my comments was what are my views on Donald Trump. And I have mixed feelings about it. I can only, my family, they very, very much support Donald Trump. My in-laws, not so much. So I'm kind of between. I'm around people that do, around people that don't. So I kind of get like a good mixture of things, and I can kind of gather my own thoughts and opinions based on each side, and being around both. But I've made my own conclusions. I formed my own opinions based on what I hear about him. I don't know him. I've never met him. He doesn't even know that I exist. But and a lot of things that you see on Facebook and on Twitter and news media on television, a lot of that is not true. They make claims, they make assumptions, false allegations. They say stuff about people that is not true. So the things I have heard about Donald Trump, things he's done, things he has said, things he stands for, I take it with a grain of salt when I hear it from someone around me or on TV, or that I read on my phone. I take it with a grain of salt. And if something really catches my eye, I do my fact checking before I make an assumption. Before I form my own opinion. And people do not do that. I don't understand. Thank God, I am not perfect, but thank God I was blessed with a brain that realizes, you need to form your own opinions and thoughts about someone, and just not let someone tell you what to believe, because not everything is true, y'all. Not everything you hear is true, and people don't understand that. They will believe anything you tell them, especially when they're like far right or far left. They're gonna try to twist things around to fit their own agenda, and I don't do that. I fall right in the middle of both sides. I have views that are liberal. I have views that lean more towards the right. I don't really have many ultra conservative views, not that I know of. I'm a very traditional, old-fashioned person, but I don't fall to the extreme, and also I don't fall to the extreme on the liberal side, I guess you would say. And the way I feel about Donald Trump, the things that I know to be true, that I have done my research on, I'm not really a fan of a lot of it. I don't support everything he does, but as far as me getting on the internet, or getting on social media in general and bashing him and calling him this and that, and just spitting out all this negative energy, I choose not to do that. Even though I don't agree with a lot of things he has said and done in the past, there's still, there comes a responsibility that you have for your own actions. And bashing someone for what they stand for, what they believe, yeah, it may piss you off. You may not agree with it, but there is no need for all that. You have to be the bigger person. Yes, there's some things that he has said that have been very negative out there against other people, and I don't like that. I'm not like that, and you will come across people in your life that do that, but you need to be the bigger person and go about things the right way. And that's how I feel about the whole Donald Trump and the left and the right, the whole situation going on between all, everyone, all the fighting and the arguing and just all the negativity. I feel like it's time to break out of, the toxic relationship that, we all have with each other, because there's been so many friendships and family that have been broken up because of politics, because one leans all the way to the right, one leans all the way to the left, and they don't want to meet in the middle to form an agreement, to just disagree. It is okay to disagree. People think if you disagree with someone on something that you have to just snip, you cut them completely off and you have nothing to do with them, and I think that is absolutely awful. I do not think that people should do that at all. And especially, back in 2016 when Donald Trump first ran for office, and when he ran again the last time, there was so much bickering and arguing. You had people that loved him. You had people that hated him. And for those that follow him as if he is a religious, perfect, father figure for the world, to me, that is weird. I think that is so weird. That is cult-like. I just don't believe in blindly following someone and, people and looking at him as if he does no wrong. Everyone screws up. Everyone does stuff that they shouldn't do. Everyone says bad things that they shouldn't do. You can't look at someone like they're perfect. You're not perfect. I'm not perfect. Nobody is perfect. We're going to do things that possibly later in life that we will regret. And so, I do find a compassionate side towards Trump, because I look at it as if, the things that he has said and done, that I really don't like, I reflect that back on myself, because there's things that I've done in the past, things that I've said that have been absolutely horrible, and things that I keep to myself because I don't want nobody knowing that. But at the same time, I know I've grown from that. I know I've made mistakes, and I know I've changed a lot. Donald Trump, if he changes, that's on him. You can't force anyone to change. But I look at it that way, is I've made my mistakes. I've said horrible things, but I am not no evil, wicked person. And especially like celebrities and other politicians, people form these horrible opinions about them. They say that, oh, this is how they are. This is what they do. You don't know these people. You don't know them. So, you can't sit and make an assumption and, form an opinion that you think is an actual fact when you don't know someone. All you know is what you've heard and what you've seen on the internet. And half the time, the stuff on the internet is, it's just, a lot of it is lies and false information. And you can't believe half of anything you say, especially with all the AI stuff going on. You hear so much about so many people. It's like, what do you believe? And that's where you as a person, it falls in to your lap to do your own research and to look into things before you get on social media spouting off all this negativity and all this false information about someone and just making the whole situation worse. Like, with me, with Donald Trump, there's a lot of stuff, like I said earlier, that I don't agree with, but you have to look at it as we are all humans. He's a human just like I am, just like you are. Yes, there may be some things that he has said that truly pisses you off. But at the end of the day, you don't know the man. You don't know him at all. You've never been around him. Some of you may have met him and may have been around him. And you have formed an opinion on him. That's a whole different level. But those of us that don't know him, you can't sit. I don't know. I don't understand that, because I have never really been like that towards people. I kind of mind my own business in general. And, I try not to be judgmental, because people are so harsh and judgmental, and they hate people that, they don't know. And I just think that's so bizarre, because, all that does is push the world into even more turmoil than what we have experienced here in like the past decade. It's been a disaster. It's been so much fighting, so much hatred. And what kills me is, there's people, they push their agenda so hard. Either they push, they're trying to push all the way to the right, all the way to the left, instead of trying to meet each other in the middle. And, Donald Trump, have I felt like he has done that? Yes, I do. Absolutely. I feel like he's tries to push things so far right. He doesn't want to see anything in, anyone else's shoes, and I think it makes it worse. But at the same time, I've done that too. It may not be with politics, but I've tried to twist things and make it fit my narrative. I think that's human nature. But I don't sit and hate myself for it. I'm not going to sit and hate someone else for that either. And that's just my 2 cents on it. And I know this is going to piss people off, because there's people that they're going to expect me, and want me to, because I'm a gay man, to get on here and talk about how much I hate him, can't stand him. I just can't stand looking at him. And you're not going to get that from me at all on this video, on my channel in general. That's not what I'm here for. I'm not here to be a jerk. So guys, thank y'all so much for tuning in and watching this video. I was so nervous about talking about politics and about Trump and all that. I just wanted to get on here and give my 2 cents and my opinion on what I believe and what I stand for. But I respect anybody else's opinion and what they stand for, because we all have our own reasons for what we believe. So guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon with another video. Bye y'all.